I wanted to mention Robert McAfee. Barbara talking about children. Robert started the Arkansas Environmental Education Association, which is just wonderful that we have that. And I think it's an example of what one person can do that just makes a difference. And then talking about David, he has really studied septic tank, and septic tank leach fields are just really inappropriate for the karst because there's just nothing there in the way of dirt to filter. And
yeah, and people don't know they have to maintain septic tanks. You know, people say, "Well, I've got a septic tank," and I said, "Well, when was the last time you serviced it?" And they go, "Well," so you know, there's a lot of education that needs to be done. I think Trish Wee in the Benton County Extension Service focuses on septic tanks and inspections of them and education about them as well. But certainly they are something that are a continuing threat to water quality in our part of the state.
well, David, one of the things that he's done that I think is tremendous, I wish we could have it happen in Eureka Springs, we're sort of limping along with it, is to pass ordinances in Stone County that a septic tank has to be inspected and approved before a sale can take place on a property, and that I think is a major step forward on the septic tank issue.
Well, and there's been a lot of progress in things like package treatment plants as well, and you know, the smaller units for subdivisions or for others that are not tied into municipal wastewater treatment plants. So I think the technology is a little better than it was back in the early 1980s, and there are some alternatives, but in a lot of ways, some of the solutions that really work are the very simple ones. I know that the house we're meeting in today was owned by Elaine and Gordon McNeil, who are both faculty at the University of Arkansas, and they were some of the very early conservationists that I met in this community. And Elaine was always talking about the virtues of the Clivus multrum, which is a composting toilet. And
it is still in their cabin at Beaver Lake.
And they still have one out in their cabin at LaRue on Beaver Lake. Gordon was a great sailor, and they carefully installed one out there. You know, every once in a while I'll go through one of the oddball magazines that I get and see ads for composting toilets or incinerating toilets, and there are many alternatives. Certainly low-flow toilets have come in since the days that we were first active in water issues, so there's not quite as much water going into our sewer systems as there was, you know, in low-flow showers and things like that. The person I bought my house from, Peg Anderson, was also very active in the League of Women Voters, and one of the things that she did was to take old plastic booze bottles, fill them with water, and put them inside the toilet tanks. And that displaced some of the water that the toilet tank used. Unfortunately, that meant she had to have her sewer pipe cleaned out every 11 months or so. So I took out the plastic bottles, I'm afraid. You know, there's some interesting solutions to some of these problems, and some of them are awfully low tech and very simple and straightforward for us to use.
Barbara Harmony,